May all of your crimes be perfect ones.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for logging on and tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. That way you can keep coming back over and over to hang with us and our fantastic creative guests in the arts and entertainment world. I am Allison Murray, and right now we are at AuthorCon and Film Festival in Oneonta, New York at the Holiday Inn, hosted by DTM Wicked Radio. We're hanging with author and actor Dwight Kemper. Thank you so much for hanging with us.
Thank you, Allison, for having me here.
Tell us about your latest book.
Well, I actually have 3 latest books, 2 of which are here, and 1 represented by an audiobook by Circle of Spears Productions out of England. Who Framed Boris Karloff takes place on a classic horror film set. They're making Son of Frankenstein, and Boris Karloff is accused of having murdered a studio executive at Universal Studios. But they're going to cover it up. But Karloff wants justice, so he, Basil Rathbone, and Bela Lugosi try to find the actual killer. The Vampire's Tomb mystery takes place during Bela Lugosi's funeral, and the worst director of all time, Edward D. Wood Jr., goes missing. So Criswell, Forrest J. Ackerman, and Ray Bradbury have to solve the case. And that's also as an audiobook with Sam Burns and Helen Sterling doing the narration. And my other book is Bela Lugosi and the House of Doom, which takes place on the set of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and Bela Lugosi and Lou Costello try to solve a spy case.
Oh, they all sound so great.
I know, buy them all.
I know, really. So what inspired you to become an author?
Well, I've always been an author. I used to write terrible fiction as a child because I thought, I'm a child, so if I write children's fiction, it's bound to get published. Not so. I didn't get published until 2007. That's how long it takes to get it done. But between that time, I also wrote and performed murder mystery dinner shows, where I take the audience from my group and I hand them parts and I make them part of the mystery, and I set up a crime scene with dummies for people to explore, and all that sort of thing. It's thoroughly interactive. And also includes magic, because we cut the head off of the murderer at the end of the show.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love murder mysteries. I really do. And you're an actor, so what inspired the crossover there?
'Cause I'm a ham. And I remember as a child, my mother took me to an acting instructor, and she found my imagination just a little bit stranger than most people, because we were all supposed to pantomime something. I'm like 6 years old, and we were all supposed to pantomime something. So one kid pantomimes, I've got a puppy, and another person says, I'm opening a Christmas present, and then I'm doing something and nobody can figure out what it is, and then she asks, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm Dr. Smith trying to reprogram the astrogator on the Jupiter 2, and the robot is trying to stop me. So anyway, anyway, since then I've also written and had produced 2 mystery plays. One of them is The Wizard of Oz Murders, which includes parody songs such as Hunt for clues, sort out facts, justice is my cause. That's why you're here on trial today in the merry old land of Oz. And yeah, and the other one is The Demise and Fall of Roman Empire, about a group of partygoers who are trying to cover up the fact that somebody that they killed, and were trying to get rid of the body and tried to make it look like an accident, and unfortunately failed miserably because because of circumstances that I won't describe here, but let's just say there was a demise and then there was a fall from a great height. So those were all produced But both of those plays were produced by the Medway Players in Medway, Massachusetts.
Oh, great. What books have influenced you and your writing and your style?
Actually, I try not to let other writers influence me. I once tried to let Ray Bradbury influence me, but his writing is a bit more florid than I have. I suppose as far as my sense of humor goes, Robert Sheckley, who used to do these wonderfully funny science fiction stories, was kind of an influence, but I have my own little way of doing things, and I tried to find my own voice, and I have. In fact, you're listening to it right now, so.
Yes. Is there anything that you find particularly challenging about your writing?
Well, here's the thing. In my younger days, I actually studied what is known as Raja Yoga, which is a mental development sort of yoga, where they have something called subconsciousing, where if you have a problem and you study it from all angles and you feed your mind with information and then you tell your mind to do this thing, it will do it. So whenever I write these books, for instance, Who Framed Boris Karloff was originally inspired by a photograph I have framed on my wall of Boris Karloff in full Frankenstein monster outfit being surprised with a birthday cake on the set of Son of Frankenstein. And I thought, that looks fun, but somewhere on that set a murder is about to take place. So I began to research everything. And then my friend Sarah Karloff, who was laid up with, after gallbladder surgery, I would send her emails with the different chapters, and then she would say she was hooked, and she would also tell me, well, my father wouldn't react this way to a certain situation, he would react that way to a certain situation. And she would also tell me things like her mother, after giving birth to Sarah, she gave birth through cesarean section, and she got an infection, and she was actually in the hospital for longer than they expected. So I actually made that part of the story. So all of those things helped to inspire my subconscious, and then I see the story as projected on a screen as a full-blown movie with music and sound effects and everything else, and then I just sort of transcribe what I'm seeing on the screen.
That's great. Where is your most favorite place to work, recharge, come up with new ideas for books?
Well, Barnes & Noble and their coffee. Because I couldn't write at home. I needed to feel like I was going to work. So I would get dressed, I'd go to Barnes & Noble, I would order their largest, most caffeinated coffee that they had, go into my little corner with my laptop, plug in, and go to town. And trust me, after 3 of those, you type really fast. And yeah, so, and the fun thing is, as I was writing Who Framed Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and the House of Doom, I would occasionally go back to the Vampire's Tomb mystery because it required some of the most interesting research, because I had to find out a lot about funerals and how bodies are prepared and things like that. And and all these books are thoroughly researched. So much so that Donnie Dunnigan, who played the little boy in Son of Frankenstein, read my book and said that I actually got everybody's character correct, including the producer-director. So, you know, you can't get you can't get higher praise than that.
Oh, I know, really. Who designed your book covers?
Well, the first book, two book covers were designed by Disney artist Frank Dietz, who worked on things like Mulan and things of that now.
Nice.
Now this book cover, I painted.
Really?
And I also illustrated this book as well. So, and if you buy the audiobook, each CD has one of my illustrations on each CD that has to do with what's going on in the CD.
Oh, nice. Where can people find you and your books?
Well, you can find them at Amazon.com. You can buy the audiobook version from Circle of Spears Productions. If you Google Circle of Spears Productions, you can go to their website. You can either get the 8 CD box set, or you can also download it. So British pounds to American money, it's approximately $30.
Okay, beautiful. Well, guys, it's been so much fun hanging with Dwight today. I am Allison Murray, but before we go, we'd like to thank our partners at Famous Faces and Funnies, Space Coast Comics, Off the Chain Radio with Yvonne Mason, the Florida Book News, Word Fire Press, and our great friends at Some Unique Magazine. Our brand new partner, Asylum Convention Entertainment Services with Heather Reed. These are the folks that share our videos all over the World Wide Web, and we hope you will too. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think of today's show and our guest. You can also check our guest links below. Remember to subscribe, log in, and stay tuned to see who we're hanging with next.
And I would also like to say to all of you out there that I say to all of my mystery guests, may all of your crimes be perfect ones. Goodbye. Wow.